All right, everybody, welcome to the Breathesober Masterclass. My name is Hamza. I am the coach and founder of Breathesober, and I am so excited to finally share with you guys the real reason why you're still drinking, even when you have been trying to stop for years. So please sit back, relax, take all of this in because this is going to completely change the way you look at alcohol forever. And also, I'm going to show you how to immediately put an end to the dependency and heal with the Breathe Sober Reset method. I'll show you the exact steps, the exact strategy. I know I shouldn't be doing this for free, but I also know that this is exactly what is going to change your life. So, and guess what? I'm going to show you how to do this without having to quit drinking forever. So let's dive right into it. Guys, alcohol is not your problem. It is not the problem anymore. If you've been using alcohol as a crutch, a coping mechanism for your stress, for anxiety, for dealing with painful emotions and suppressing them, then alcohol is no longer the issue. Focusing all of your efforts on just abstaining from alcohol and trying not to drink, when all of your energy is going into not drinking, this only makes it worse and will only reinforce the desire to drink. So this is why things like willpower, moderation, limiting yourself to just the weekends or just one or two drinks, and all of those strategies, they often fail when we try to resist the temptation. So the real problem is something completely different, and now over the course of this presentation, I will show you guys exactly what that is. This is my client Andy. He is now almost 4 years sober, and when he realized what the real problem was, his life completely changed. He reversed type 2 diabetes, he lost over 100 pounds, and he is now living the most thriving and happiest version of his life. And now I will show you guys exactly how he did it and how you can do it as well. So now let's look at the role of the nervous system. It's very important to understand exactly what the job is of the nervous system and why it's so important, right? So the first thing is the nervous system is responsible for automating our habits. So the process of automation, which is anything that we enjoy doing repeatedly, our nervous system will work towards automating this habit, meaning our thinking brain, our awareness doesn't have to spend energy thinking about this action. It's automated, it's dropped in your subconscious so that you can just do it again and again and again without really putting any energy or thought towards it. And this, of course, includes the drinking habit as well. So think of the driving habit. At some point, you had to learn, you had to focus. So you were obviously fully present in the process of learning. But today, 10, 15, 20 years later, you don't even think about it. It's completely automated, right? So it's the exact same process, the exact same building blocks that go into creating and automating all of our habits. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, it's also responsible for decoding information from our five senses and storing the data in our brains. So this is also what's called our external environment. The external environment is the collection of every single experience that we have ever had. All the thoughts, not all the places, all the smells, all the sounds, your room, your home, your living room, your office, your bar, your best friend's house, all the places that you go, especially that you go frequently, they all become your external environment. And why this is important is because we are calibrated to think and feel a certain way based on the environment which we are in. And oftentimes, in fact, for you right now, in your external environment, there are hundreds, probably, of cues, of triggers that then send you down a familiar thought pattern and a familiar behavior pattern. And we'll talk about that. We'll break that down very shortly here. And also, it is responsible for five key functions: behavior, thoughts and feelings, perception, and sensation. Out of all of these, behavior is the one that is fully in our control. It is negotiable. Thoughts and feelings are more like pop ups, they come and go, not so negotiable. Perception, a little bit negotiable. If I were to ask you, hey, how do the bottom of your feet feel right now? What happened? Your brain went to the bottom of your feet just to see what that feeling is like, right? That is perception. It's negotiable. You can change your perception. Sensation, on the other hand, completely non-negotiable. If I take a lighter, light it, put my hand on top, I'm going to feel the burn. I'm going to feel the heat. There's no exceptions, right? out of all of these, because behavior is the only one in our control, when we lead with behavior, we override existing neural connections. So in other words, if you're trying to change a habit, if you're trying to change something that's hard coded, like the drinking habit, for example, you come home from work every day and you want to have a drink. This is how you relax and unwind. And in the morning, when you tell yourself, which is not behavior, right? I'm going to stop drinking. Today is going to be the day when I'm not going to do anything when I get home. However, all of that changes as soon as you get home. Why? Because it's your external environment. You are primed and optimized to, as soon as you enter that environment, at that time of day, you are thinking about having a drink, and that is when the cravings come, right? So I hope it's all starting to make sense for you now. So just remember, guys, that the easiest thing to do is to not think, but do. Behavior is the key, the portal from which all other areas can follow suit and fall in line with your objective, which is to stop drinking, to change your habits, change your life, improve your health, and so on, right? Now I'm going to show you guys the 4 levels of the nervous system elevator. Now take a good look at this image over here. This is from a book called Heal Your Nervous System by Linda Passaler. Fascinating stuff and really, really informative. It has some great exercises, so I highly recommend you guys look into that. But these are the 4 levels of the nervous system elevator, because all roads lead to the nervous system, which includes your stress response, your window of tolerance, and I'll go through all of that very quickly here. But basically, there are 5 levels. Okay, blue is more like when you have just woken up, where your body feels calm and relaxed, and your mind may feel more peaceful and serene and replenished and safe. And you see the world as this peaceful sanctuary where safety prevails and harmony exists, right? So this is more like when you've just woken up, or when you're fully relaxing and calm and peaceful, right? Then you have your green state, where the pulse is steady, the breath reaches your belly, and the muscles are relaxed, and you feel your mind feels focused and relaxed and efficient and engaged. It feels positive, feels calm. And you see the world as a place of opportunity where challenges are manageable and engagement with tasks is more fluid. So you're a bit more engaged, you're a bit more alert, but still at peace, right? Then we have the yellow state. So think of having to do a presentation, having to speak in front of a bunch of people, and you're a little bit nervous. It's 5 minutes before start time. You're feeling a little bit nervous. You're feeling a little bit anxious. That's your yellow state, where your body may feel like a bit of a quickened pulse, chest breathing, muscle tension, heightened senses, and your mind may feel increased anxiousness or nervousness, racing or ruminating thoughts, and cautiously feeling unsafe. And you see the world as a challenge of demanding tasks, incessant change, and pressure to constantly adapt. Okay? And the last one is the red state. So this is where your heart is pounding, your breathing is shallow, you have muscle tension, you're sweating, your mind feels on high alert, it's fear-driven, threat-focused, hypervigilant, right? And you see the world as this unpredictable battlefield filled with threats and chaos, right? And then we have the purple state, which is this is rare. These are peak experiences, but this is where your body is completely immobilized, slow heartbeat, breathing, loose muscles. Your mind is disengaged and completely overwhelmed. You're frozen, and the world is just chaos and paralyzing, right? Now, compare these states to the state with which you wake up after a night of drinking. Okay? Or when you are trying to stop drinking, you are trying your very best to make the effort using willpower, just white knuckling it, and whatever strategies you're using, that is putting you in a red state. Every time you have alcohol cravings, you're in a red or a yellow state. Okay, guys, so pay very close attention, because this is what it's all about. And I'm going to show you in a moment like what the real problem is, but I hope you're with me so far. But these are the 4 levels of the nervous system. Now, a flexible, healthy, well-regulated nervous system is able to easily fluctuate between these states. So it doesn't mean that you just don't get angry or you don't see a red state. You do. The only difference is you don't stay there forever, and you can bring yourself down. And that is the mark of a healthy nervous system. Comparable to one that is in dysfunction, when you're in a red state, you stay in a red state all day. When you're in a yellow state, you kind of stay there all day. How many of you guys have this baseline anxiety all day long, especially after a day of drinking, especially after you promised yourself you're not going to do it, but you ended up doing it anyway, and now it's the next day, right? So now we will move into main reasons we continue to drink. So why do we keep going back to it? This is the habit loop, right? Now, as I'm going through this, I'll share with you guys my personal story as well. I was drinking heavily. I was so just unhappy with life. There were a lot of emotional scars, deep emotional pain that I just didn't know what to do with. And all I did was just drink and drink and drink. I was drinking 2 bottles of wine every single day. I was unhappy. I was overweight. I hated the way I looked in the mirror. I hated the way I felt. I was always miserable, irritable. It was just turning me into a very miserable person. And, stress from work and life. Let's take a look at this. All of us have stress. All of us have stressful lives. This world is set up to be extremely stressful, especially if you have kids who are younger kids. You have errands to run. You have to get them ready for school every day. You have to look after yourself as well. You have to work. You have to pay bills. You have to do all these things. Of course, it is stressful. And we build a habit of relieving stress with alcohol. This is a classic example of a habit loop. This is your stress response calibrated that every time your body feels stress, your brain automatically wants to think about drinking. This is rooted in your nervous system. It was exactly like this for me as well. Like all the stress from the drinking and the inability to stop and all the negative emotions that come with it, the shame, the guilt, the regret, the fear, all of that stuff adds more to the stress, which then leads to drinking more because that's what you're programmed to do. And you're going in this weird, vicious cycle over and over again, right? The habit of using alcohol to unwind after a long day. I know all of you guys have this, the witching hour, that one time of day when you come home from work or after you've put the kids to bed or whatever it is, and it is just impossible to shake. It's again a habit that is embedded in your nervous system, created with years of repetition, right? It was exactly like this for me as well. I had a liquor store that would be about halfway between my office and my home. And on the way, the whole way, it was about an hour-long ride. The whole way, I'd be like, nope, 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 not doing it, not doing it, not doing it. Today, I'm not doing it. No matter what happens, I'm not doing it. I'm not drinking, I'm not drinking, I'm not drinking. But then as soon as the stop came, I was like, okay, I guess I'll start tomorrow. That is the witching hour. That is your nervous system overpowering your willpower, and your willpower doesn't stand a chance against an enemy that it cannot see because it's not in your awareness, it's in your subconscious, right? Alcohol cravings and the desire to drink. So what are alcohol cravings? Alcohol cravings is something, it started because of a trigger, a cue in your external environment that made you start thinking about alcohol, or something happened like a stressful event or that time of day or the weekend or the fact that you're bored, whatever it is, you feel alcohol cravings, you try to fight them, and when you try to fight them, it puts your nervous system in a yellow or a red state, and it's in that state where everything falls apart and you just cave. So what is the real solution to this? We have to go from high to low, from red to yellow, from red to blue or green, and I'll show you what that means very shortly. Social interactions. We're trying our best not to drink, but then somebody's birthday, somebody's wedding, St. Patrick's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc., etc., etc. All of this is a conditioning. Who made these rules? Why do you have to drink if you go out? Why do people ask you why you're not drinking? The question should be, why are you putting a poison in your body? Right? But no, that's because that's what's widely accepted. And we all just accept the fact that this is how it is. And over the years, we calibrate ourselves to want this. So when we put ourselves in a social situation, of course, every fiber of our being is saying, yeah, let's have a drink. Let's have a drink. This is the place to do it. This is the place to do it. But ask yourself, who made this rule? Right? False beliefs about needing alcohol. I need alcohol to sleep. I need alcohol to be social. It gives me confidence. It loosens me up. It makes me feel good. It eliminates my stress. Are you listening to this? Does it really? You know, this is the number one thing, your mindset, what you believe to be true. You know, in the 60s, so many experiments were done where and this was done by the US Army, right? The military. And they found out that if you feed someone lies enough times, they will start to believe it, to a point where when you even present them with the truth, they're going to be like, nah, that's not real. Think about that for a second. How many lies are you telling yourself every day in your head that are designed to justify the fact and make you feel okay about the fact that you want to drink? Again, this is all rooted in your nervous system. Celebrations and joyous occasions, I feel like we already talked about this, but again, like, everybody wants to celebrate with alcohol, and you feel like you're not celebrating. It's not quite a celebration if you're not getting drunk and not remembering half of it the next day. Where's the fun in that? And this again also is rooted in how we are wired and what we have been told this whole time. The inability to sleep without alcohol, right? You're trying to stop, but you can't sleep. You're tossing and turning. Of course, you're going to have a hard time sleeping without alcohol in the first few days, because it completely throws off every single neurochemical of note: your dopamine, your serotonin, your endorphins, your melatonin, all of it, right? So, of course, your body needs a little bit of time to adjust. So it's only a matter of a few days before things get better. And there are 1,000 different things that you can do to help you fall asleep at the right time and get some deep rest, right? Using it to numb painful emotions. This is the big one. Each and every one of you guys have a story. Something happened to you, or you did something and that you regret, that you haven't been able to let go of, that you haven't processed yet, that you haven't fully understood and forgiven yourself for, right? Think about that for a second. How much are you holding on to? How big is your baggage that you're lugging around all day long, right? And the more you drink, the more you keep pushing them down. Guess what? They come back even stronger. Every time you have a moment to yourself where your brain is not occupied, guess what's going to happen? Those painful emotions are going to come up. And because every single time you have this painful emotion, you just decide to have a drink to forget about it, you're not forgetting about it, you're just delaying the problem. That's all it is. Again, this is rooted in your nervous system, right? Anxiety, boredom, weekends, nothing to do. Again, all of it comes down to how you have wired yourself, the habits you have created, and the version of yourself that is fully dependent on regulating itself with alcohol. That version, of course, will feel anxious when there's nothing to do. Of course, boredom. What is boredom? Boredom means that you don't have anything distracting you and you finally get a moment with yourself. So you don't like yourself? Is that why every time you get bored, you want to have a drink and just entertain yourself? What is so bad about being bored? Ask yourself this question right now. Sit there for 10 minutes, no TV, no nothing, no phone, just sit there with your eyes closed. What comes up for you? Most of your answers are right there, right? The fear of missing out on fun, where you perceive that your perception, remember, right? Negotiable. Your perception is that if I don't drink or if I don't go out, I will not have fun. And if I don't go out, if I go out, then I have to have a drink, right? I used to feed myself this all the time. In fact, I was a promoter, and a good one. And we did events for thousands of people. I was well known in the industry. That was everything to me. The biggest challenge for me when I was trying to stop, that kept me rooted in drinking for an extra 5 years. 5 years of misery, pain, hating myself, only because I was clinging on to this idea that who am I if not a promoter, right? I will miss out on all this amazing fun and my identity and my life if I quit drinking, which was the biggest lie that I ever fed myself. So here's Katie, another example of, she was stuck in her habit loop. She's a mom. She was looking after some kids as well, running a daycare at home. Of course, very stressful stuff. And her loop was, again, just drinking after putting the kids to bed and just not able to stop. That was making her miserable. But again, with the Breathe Sober Reset, she was not only able to stop drinking, but she was then able to heal all the parts of herself that are now allowing her to live a happy, thriving, alcohol-free life. This is Chris. Same thing. Chris was also drinking out of his sheer stress, sheer habit. Just this is what he knew. This is what he always did. Every time he tried to stop, it was just always such a big problem. It would make him miserable, and it was just easier to pick up a drink. Now he's almost 2 years sober. He's worked through so many of the root causes that were lodged, embedded deeply in his nervous system. It takes a few weeks to work through this stuff, and now he's happy, thriving, being the best dad he can, being the best husband he can, alcohol free, and in fact, a great inspiration for people in our community. So you might be wondering, okay, If alcohol is not the problem, then what the hell is? If you haven't guessed it already, here it is. Alcohol is not the problem anymore. It may have been, but not anymore. Several years of using alcohol as a coping mechanism for stress, painful emotions, relaxing, unwinding, using it as a reward, all of this is what leads to severe dysfunction in your nervous system. All the shame, the guilt, the regret, avoiding all the painful emotions, all of this is what turns this into a nervous system issue instead of just a drinking issue. Okay? Our neurochemicals, like I mentioned earlier, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, they're all completely out of balance. So when you stop drinking, you feel low, you feel depressed, and you decide that, you know what, the only thing that will give me some happiness is a drink. However, that is not the problem. That is just the manifestation of the symptom. Okay? All of our painful emotions that remain unresolved, where you haven't gotten clarity, you haven't gotten closure, you've just been avoiding it, avoiding dealing with it because it will feel too painful, like a breakup, divorce. There's so many things that can lead to this. But the more we suppress them, the deeper they go into our subconscious. The deeper they go into our subconscious, our thinking brain forgets about them a little bit, but they manifest themselves. They wreak havoc from within. And until we release these, until we deal with this, the problem will not go away. Our habits, our external environment, our stress response, and our habit loops, they're all calibrated right now. Today in your life, all of this is calibrated to support and want alcohol at various points throughout your day, or when you are in a particular environment, like when you come home from work, or like when you put your kids to bed, or like when you go to a bar just to have one drink, right? All of that is by current design. So the same way we set up this design, we can create a new one. Our nervous system is set up to desire alcohol and want and think about alcohol, which is why it is happening, which is why when you try to not drink, when you try to say no drinking, the no part doesn't go anywhere. It's just the drinking part that remains in your forefront, in your awareness. That's the problem, not the alcohol, right? So this is the real issue, guys. The dysfunction in the nervous system. This is the real problem. This is why all of your efforts have fallen short until now. This is also why when you start focusing on the nervous system and start focusing on the solution, you will be surprised at how quickly your life can change. So now let's look at the steps to reset, regulate, and rewire, the 3 R's. Reset, regulate, and rewire your nervous system. So let's talk about the solution. So what is breathwork-based healing, or breathe sober breathwork, right? So breathe sober breathwork is a one-of-a-kind breathwork-based healing method that I created, and it's designed exclusively for those who are struggling to stop drinking but really want to stop and heal from it all. Okay? It works fast to make sure that your nervous system is more flexible so you can go from a red to a blue state quickly and easily. So when I was showing you guys the nervous system elevator, breathwork-based healing is the way to go from high to low quickly. It heals your mitochondrial function. So mitochondria are tiny little power plants that actually create all the energy from within our cells, okay? And when we are drinking, there is this effect called oxidative stress, which essentially slows down the production of energy, and in some cases just hinders it completely. And that is why you struggle with energy, you have low mood, and you just feel crappy, right? So breathwork addresses this right away. Your mitochondrial function restores itself very quickly, so you start feeling good, feeling full of energy, full of excitement, and things start to change from within. This method is what regulates and heals the nervous system. So this is what allows you to release all those pent-up emotions. It dramatically reduces your stress and the impact of the stress on your nervous system. All those anxious thoughts go away, and it brings feelings of wellness, of safety, of peace, of feeling good. And God knows we're all missing that, right? It eliminates alcohol cravings in under 10 minutes. So this is exactly, again, When you're feeling cravings, what's really happening is when you're fighting it, your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system is turned on. You're in a red state right off the bat. So this will bring you down. More importantly, this is the process of uncovering your root causes by going into an alpha state. So your brain has 5 states, and the one where we are in deep sleep is called delta. Then there is theta, where we're kind of awake but kind of asleep, sort of in between. Then there is alpha. We have just woken up or just about to go to sleep, but we haven't started thinking yet. That's the alpha state. That's the state of manifestation. That's the state of creation. That is exactly where you need to go to address your root causes, and you gain hyper clarity on the issues in your nervous system, hyper clarity on exactly what you need to do, where you need to focus your attention, and this is what's missing from your life right now. And it will dramatically improve your sleep and deep rest, and this is vital for regeneration of your cells, for healing of your organs, all of your brain cells, all the other cells in your body, all the other organs, all the other systems that have been severely disrupted by the alcohol intake. And lastly, it will rewire the brain. So this is the process of rewiring the brain with new neural networks and pathways by using techniques like visualization, third eye activation, widening the window of tolerance, changing the stress response, and so on. There are several techniques that you're going to learn as part of this process, but this is what breathwork-based healing is. This is Simon. Simon is a lawyer, and when Simon started with the process of breathwork-based healing, at the time he was drinking daily. He was running a law firm, very stressed out, drinking every single day. He had put on some weight, was very unhappy, and through the breathwork-based healing process, he was able to relieve all that stress. He was able to come to a different conclusion about his life, manage his stress effectively, stop the drinking habit, and start creating a more alcohol-free lifestyle. Today, he's 2 years sober, happy, thriving, and never looked back. And then this is Taylor. Taylor also, same thing. She's a mom. She was stressed out. She was also a teacher, looking after the kids by herself. Being a single mom is the hardest job on this planet. So she was having to do all that. And of course, she was drinking a couple of bottles of wine almost every day. And with the introduction of breathwork-based healing and the integration of those practices into her life, along with our methods and our program, she is now 2 years alcohol-free, thriving, never looked back. She's winning competitions in the gym. She's running marathons, and again, couldn't be happier in her. Now I want to show you guys the exact steps of changing your relationship with alcohol at the root using breathwork-based healing. Okay, so please pay attention. These are the steps. This is it. So first and foremost, you have to solidify your why. These are all the reasons why you want to stop drinking, and they must be for you, not for others. And the way to do that is to use breathwork to go into an alpha state. When you're in that space where there's no thought, nothing, and it's just pure being and existence, that's where you ask yourself, why do I want to do this? And if it's a reason for anything other than yourself, you don't put it down. Not for your wife, not for your boss, not for anyone else in your life, but for yourself first. Then comes the wife and the kids and the husband and all that. But first is you, okay? You have to find and heal the root causes. So this is the main thing, right? Like, nobody likes to deal with painful emotions, but with using breathwork and using it to clear all the noise and going deep within, you're able to find all your hidden cues. You're able to release pent-up and painful emotions, get closure, get clarity, and embark on that journey of deep self-inquiry. Things like journaling, self-love, drawing boundaries. These are all things that have to be done in order for you to succeed with this plan, okay? You use breathwork techniques. There's alternate nostril breathing techniques. That's called Alanome Vilome. There's strong breathing techniques like Chit Shakti Pranayama. We teach all this in the program to break these patterns. So first you identify what are all the situations, what are all the things that make you think about drinking, what are the situations where you just cannot shake the craving or the feeling. Where does it start? Where does it come from? What is the starting point? And when you're in that situation, once you have that list, and when you're in that situation, you have to use your breath to practice breaking that pattern and leading with behavior. Remember, we talked about that, leading with behavior to do something else. And what that something else is, there's a full strategy to this. However, you understand the idea. Go to the gym, go for a walk, anything. Practice this like you would as repetitions in the gym. Every trigger is an opportunity for you to flex that sobriety muscle. Remember that. Okay? You need a clear vision of what and who you are without alcohol and what the alcohol free you looks like. And I know for a fact that more than half of you guys have no clue what that person is like because you haven't thought about it. Because your brain stops you from going there because why bother? Right? The drinking brain doesn't want you to think about the alcohol free version of yourself. And if you cannot visualize it, how are you going to create it? Right? This is where breathwork and breathwork based healing allows you to cut through all the noise, activate your third eye using specific visualization techniques, activating your frontal lobe, using all of its power to create that version. And I'll give you the exercises that will make this stupid simple for you to get that all on paper and then to start visualizing it and manifesting it. Okay? You have to practice breathwork and meditation to activate your third eye and visualize this person every single morning. We just talked about this. And of course, you have to put in daily consistent action to change your stress response, widen your window of tolerance, improving your mitochondrial function, healing your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial health. These are the 5 pillars of your health and wellness that often get destroyed the most from alcohol. So we have to focus on healing these instead of trying not to drink. Does that make sense? You have to use these tools regularly, every single day, to reset and regulate and rewire your nervous system daily. This is a daily practice, guys, okay? And of course, have a supportive, judgment-free community where you feel like you are a part of the group, where everybody is on the same journey and there's no judgment. There's nothing like that, where you feel safe to be yourself. You have no idea how important this is. You have to have a clear step-by-step plan. So you have to know exactly what you're working towards, what triggers you're working towards, what are they, where they come from, and have a step-by-step plan on what alternative action you can take. But first, you have to learn how to use your breath to change your internal state and change your nervous system level from a red or yellow to a blue or green. This is essentially at the heart of the success that comes from this. Lastly, you have to have someone to hold you accountable. You have to have someone in your life that has done this, that knows what this is like, that knows what the challenges are like, knows what this feels like, knows what it's like to be in your shoes and has compassion for you, but also knows exactly what you need to take the next steps, to hold you accountable and guide you every step of the way. Okay? This is Anne. Anne is one of my favorite clients. She's from Ireland. She was drinking 2 bottles of Jameson a day. She could not imagine what her life would be like without alcohol. She's a very powerful, very successful lawyer, now retired, and we worked together for 6 months. And in that time, she's been sober for more than 2 years now, living a thriving, happy, just loving her life with her husband, Tim. And all of this happened because she couldn't see that alcohol-free version of herself, but then with these techniques that we teach in the program and in the reset method, she was able to completely change her life. This is Mark, same situation. Mark was drinking every single day. When I met with him, he had tried everything. He had tried AA, he had tried therapy, he had tried different programs. However, with the Breathe Sober Reset, because it's so different, because it's so unique, it is completely different from AA or any other program that you may have found. It's all based on science. It's all based on practicality. No one is a hopeless alcoholic here. There's no religious undertones of any kind. Like, of course you can be religious. I'm not saying that, but like, that's not what this is based on. This is based on cold, hard science. Okay, guys? And ancient techniques from hundreds of thousands of years ago. So, Mark was able to completely change his life. Sober, happy, thriving, and never look back. Before I get into the Breathe Sober Reset method, I want to explain who this is for. Guys, I would love to help everybody. I simply can't. I have 2 children. I have a third on the way. I have all my clients. I have a plate that's very, very full. So this method and program is for career-driven professionals with families, responsibilities, and who are struggling to control their drinking, but they want to stop. So you have to be someone who wants to stop or cut down, but finding it extremely difficult, but you're still actively working on it, okay? If you don't feel you have a problem, or if you don't feel like you need to stop or cut back, or that you're okay without it, then this would be the place to just stop the presentation, because that's not for you. Okay? You admit that you have a problem. So this is surrender, acceptance. This is the first goddamn step. So you have to admit that you have a problem that you're unable to solve on your own, that you've been trying to solve on your own, but so far you haven't been successful. Okay? You're ready to set your ego aside and ask for and receive help. Okay? Please. Life is too short for ego to get in the way, for fear to hold us back, and all of that stuff. If you are interested in this, please just be ready to ask for and receive help. And it's always those people who are humble and egoless in the beginning that completely change their life within weeks. And you are a 5 out of 5 for motivation and desire to make changes to your life. So if this fits, if this sounds like you, all right, guys, now I'm going to show you what the Breathe Sober Reset method is all about. First and foremost, this is a 1-year program. It's all encompassing, extremely comprehensive. So this is really a very complete program to not only get you started with sobriety, but to keep you going. And my goal is to get you to 1 year sober from as soon as you join the program. Okay? You will learn how to use visualization and gratitude to create the life that you want, everything that we just talked about. You will learn how to form new habits and boost your self-confidence through neuroplasticity. That is at the heart of this program. You'll learn how to enjoy socializing and relaxing without alcohol. So I'll show you exactly how to go out and be that confident life of the party person that you miss and fear that you won't have if you stop drinking. I'll show you how to prioritize your self-care and live a balanced, happy, fulfilling life. And for this, you have to learn to love yourself, right? First and foremost. I'll show you how to overcome alcohol cravings and manage your triggers effectively with your breath. It works every single time. I'll show you how to regulate your nervous system and release all the pent-up emotions. I'll show you exactly how to address the root causes of drinking and reprogram your mindset and your brain, and how to reduce stress, improve your resilience, and feel at peace. All of this is included in the Breathe Sober Reset method. This is what we do day in and day out. This is what we've done for hundreds of people already, some of which you've already seen throughout this presentation. Okay, so you might be wondering, okay, Hamza, this is awesome. I learned a lot about breathwork, but how do I integrate this into my life, right? So look, you've understood now what the real problem is. You've understood exactly where and how to start taking the steps to create healing and create change in your life. But you might be wondering, but how do I do all this by myself, right? You can attempt to do this on your own, guys. You have a nervous system, you have lungs, you can learn how to breathe, you can do all this stuff on your own. Or let's have an open and candid conversation about where you are in your life and your relationship with alcohol, and where you want to be, what your struggles are, what your challenges are. Look, every single person is different. Everyone's life is different. Everyone's unique, and that's the beauty of being a human being. So let's have a conversation. I want to learn about your challenges, about your lifestyle, about your routine, about your goals, and deep down what it is you truly want. And if I feel confident that I can help you completely change your life, then we can talk about the Breathe Sober Reset program. I'll extend an invitation to you, and we can go from there. So guys, the link to my calendar is in the description below. Come on, let's build a thriving and alcohol-free version of your life together. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.